Whoa, who's that girl over there? Oh,
It's
hello
just me.
everyone. Hello everyone. My name is Justin Rivera. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-host Nick Valdez, and today we have a special guest, one of my good friends, Mar.
Hello, everyone. It's me,
Yeah.
Mar.
Hey. So today we're going to be talking about women playing basketball. I'm going to be asking her a couple of questions about her experiences about playing basketball as a woman growing up. So let me ask you the first question. Tell me what was your experience like playing basketball growing up as a kid or especially as a girl though?
So, my experience is actually pretty good, probably compared to other girls, because I actually started playing in the Philippines. So,
Mm,
it's kind of different there compared to,
mhm,
I think, what it might have been here, because in the Philippines, everybody plays. So,
yeah.
there's a spot for you to play because it was just available for you and nobody really cared whether you were a boy, a girl, whether you were gay. Like you could
Yeah.
just play because you were allowed to, or like you just could, and nobody ever questioned it. So when I was younger, I have an older brother who's 3 years older than me,
Hmm.
and I actually played with him and his friends because none of my friends played.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, like growing up, it was pretty easy, I would say, because I had an older brother. So that might be
Oh.
different if you're a girl growing up and you're the only girl, or you're the oldest one, or you don't have any friends close to you. But for me, I was really lucky because I was growing up with an older brother who played basketball. So that's kind of how I got into it. It was mostly because of him.
Oh, so he was like that like that big influence who kind of got you into the
Yeah.
game and
Yeah,
to
absolutely. I mean,
oh,
without him, I probably wouldn't even know about basketball. It was the only game that he played when he was younger.
mm,
And I was always that kid that was like, oh, like, I want to join. Like, let me come. And
okay.
we would go to the basketball court because that's where he would be.
Ah. And
Hmm.
what kind of challenges did you face like what playing the game of basketball growing up?
Actually, more of the challenges started to show up when I moved to Canada. So I moved here
Mm,
when I was 12. I want to say 12.
mhm,
And I started playing at that age, like at school, 12 years old. But there's a lot of barriers with it. The first one was I couldn't speak English properly. And so, like, trying to join other kids was like a struggle because I didn't want to speak English because I didn't know how. Okay.
mhm.
So that part was already hard. And two, the boys didn't really pass you the ball. So
Oh, yeah.
that was one thing. They didn't really pass you the ball, so you never really got the chance to play. So a lot of girls at that age start to fall out of sport only because they're not given the chance to, or they're not given the space to do the sport, whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be basketball. Just in
Mhm.
general, if they're not given the space or the opportunity, most girls usually just fall out of sport from there.
From that.
So that's
Oh,
that's the main challenge, I would say.
right. And how would you say like, would you have did you overcome those challenges?
Yes, I did actually. So I obviously learned how to speak English over time because I'm not speaking to you in Filipino.
Yeah.
So I finally felt the courage to be like, hey, like, can I join you guys? Or hey, like, I want to play. So that first move of introducing yourself into the game, into playing with other kids, that was the first barrier. And once I got through that, the second barrier is obviously getting the ball, right?
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
when a girl joins your team, you're gonna be like, ah, what the heck? Like she can't even shoot the ball or dribble or whatever. So I worked really hard on that, learning the skills because obviously they're not gonna pass you the ball if you can't do anything with it. So I think overcoming the challenge of young girls being able to play with other kids, not just girls or boys, with other kids in general, is to show that they have skill. Because so nowadays, like when I run pickup, like when I go with you guys,
Mhm.
I usually get the ball passed to me because the first moment I get the ball passed to me, I would want to shoot it and make a shot. That usually leaves an impression to guys that you play with that, oh, she can actually play. We can pass her the ball. That's what I would say to young girls who are like, oh, like they're never gonna pass me the ball or whatever. If you have a skill, they're not really gonna care about that. They can look past the fact that you're a female, and they can trust that when they pass you the ball, you can create something with it.
Great.
So those two
Eh,
things, yes.
right. And would you say like that is exactly like what pretty much made you stand out as a woman when you started to show up showcase your skills playing against a bunch of guys? So the minute you got that opportunity, that
Mhm.
was when would you say, you know,
I would say so,
started?
yes, because guys, they don't really think that much, right? It's just like, okay, we're just running ball or whatever. If there's a girl there, she's probably weaker. She's not going to do anything. She's
Mhm.
going to lose the ball or whatever. But usually when I go into pickup games, especially if it's co-ed, like boys and girls, when I get the ball and a guy is guarding me, he's most likely going to give me space. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but they're going to give me space because that's your inclination, I guess.
Yeah.
You would think like, oh, like she's fine. She's not going to do anything. The moment a guy does that to me, I'm shooting the ball in front of him and then I'm going to put him in his place. So when you join, or not join, but like when you play with other guys, you just have to show them that you can actually play so that they can give you respect right off the bat. And that has to come from the first pass that you get the ball. Because if you wait around, you're running laps basically because you're not getting the ball. The moment you get the ball, you have to kind of put your foot down and be like, yeah, I can actually play. Like pass me the ball and I can get open. Right? So that's what I would say.
Get you. Yeah, and like cuz the it's a good thing that you brought that up though because the way like I remember like it's been like the social construct from what I
Mhm.
think is that most women that like they're not really as respected as men when they play
Yeah,
when they go out
that's
there
very true.
into the court, right? Like, and
Mhm.
I think these women's they really have to show that they are just as good as men nowadays.
Mhm.
No, I mean like because now if you take a look at it, with like think about the NBA now. We're seeing a lot of like NBA female coaches now. It's not we're not just
Yeah.
talking about the game of basketball as like on the court, but in terms of like
Mhm.
positions as well too, like being a coach. Now I'm starting to see a lot of like referees and everything
Mhm.
like that onto the court. Like so like how do you guys like think like if like I just feel like women are also starting to make that impact into the game of basketball. Like in what ways do you guys think are women also like impacting the game of basketball? Right.
Well,
Like,
I think representation matters, and
mhm,
obviously years and years ago, like it comes to in studies too, that years, like decades ago, it's kind of looked down upon that females were even exercising or doing any sports for whatever reason, right?
mhm,
They looked at females doing sport as if it was taboo, like it wasn't a thing that we would do. But over time, a lot of things changes in society that allowed us to do those things. But it's kind of funny, but I think I just learned that in Western culture because in Eastern cultures, that wasn't really a thing. Like it wasn't really a societal thing for young girls to not do exercise or sport. Because when I was younger, nobody like my family's pretty old school. Like my grandparents and my parents, they're pretty old school when it comes to stuff like that, but they let me explore whatever I would like to do as a child. So I played with the guys, I played with the girls. I played a lot of sports. I went out, I tried out for everything, and they never really stopped me. And I think that helped me a lot in discovering what I'm comfortable doing when it comes to sport. And as a young girl, when you're growing up in those stages and you don't get to choose what you're actually interested in, and they're putting you in a place where, oh, you're only allowed to do this, you're never actually understanding if you can, because they're not giving you that opportunity. So I think the representation that women have in sport now is a progressive thing that's constantly happening like year to year, and it didn't really happen like, oh, in 2020 there was like way more female coaches or
Yes.
female referees or recognition, Brianna Stewart, Bird, and all that. Like it just
Hmm.
didn't happen in 2020. It was like a continuous build up to this point.
Yeah, constant, and then at that point, till you
Mhm.
start seeing like that impact to terms of the news and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and like in what ways, like who's like one player, one female icon that you believe that you think is very inspirational to you, and that's very it's inspirational to the society.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot in like in every sport, right?
Mhm.
Serena Williams in tennis, right? There's Alex Morgan in soccer,
Oh yes, yes,
Sue Bird
love.
in basketball, Brianna Stewart, Gigi, and she was only 12 and she's already made a huge impact in her image along with her dad.
Hmm.
Like there's so many. There's so many that, and I think that's difficult because when you look at it in basketball, there's so many guys that you can look up to, right? In terms of sport, there's Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. Like there's so many idols per se because they have a lot of representation
Hmm.
in that sport specifically. Whereas in female sports, there's representation, but in multiple aspects of sport and not just in basketball. So if you were a girl who played basketball and you only looked up to Sue Bird, you only had one person to look up to.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were just a girl who was interested in sport, you could have watched all of these females all throughout their careers and be inspired by them in different aspects of it, right? Which makes it kind of hard because if you're a girl who only likes basketball, you only had such a certain amount of people to kind of look up to and watch and idolize. Whereas if you were to look up to um, male figures, you had options to look at, right?
Mhm. Oh, okay, and then
Yeah.
that's pretty much it's interesting. And how
Hmm.
about like any other like woman who you they you know, like who not really
Hmm.
that are famous or anything like that, that you
Hmm.
know in your social circle that you look up to, that is an inspiration to you, that has also impacted the game of basketball.
Well, that actually is a pretty that's a good question because I don't have a lot of female friends who are into sport, believe it or not. They're in different aspects of life. Like my really, really close knit friends are not athletic at
Oh.
all. Yeah, like not athletic at all. I would probably be in my circle of friends be the only real person into sport and into athletics and into fitness. But I'm lucky because I'm in the fitness industry that my coworkers who are
Yes.
females are actually the craziest, most motivating, inspiring people that I've ever worked with. And I only got to know them through fitness and through my journey in sport. So like for example, the only basketball player that I currently work with is Letty, and she's an
Yes.
amazing person, right?
Hmm.
She's done all of it throughout her career, and she's not only a dedicated athlete to the craft that she enjoys, but she's also an incredible person, right? Because sometimes you don't get to see that often in an athlete. Really skilled, everything you could look for in an athlete, in a player, but also be a really down to earth, humble person. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
so I
Yeah.
definitely look up to her. Man, I'm like boasting her so hard right now. What the heck?
Shout out to Letty if you're
Shout
watching
out
this.
to,
Shout
I
out to
know, right? What the heck?
Letty.
Well,
Yeah.
and in other sports too, like if you guys didn't know, like Tiana was an MVP in her
Oh yeah.
sport in volleyball too. So and I think she's also captain. Like, I don't get me wrong on that one, but to be captain of a team, like that requires a certain form of leadership, right?
Mhm.
And you guys know that. You guys have coached basketball
Yes.
teams.
Yes.
It takes a different kind of person to be a leader in a team sport. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm surrounded by a lot of really cool, really badass females for sure.
Do you feel like that gives you that sense of drive to want to like level up and constantly
Oh
continue to
yeah,
grind on a day-to-day
absolutely.
basis?
Absolutely. Because the thing is, when you get to surround yourself with other females who are excelling in their field or in their sport, in their craft, whatever it is, it drives you to just do the same for your own field, in your own craft, in your own sport, right? Because the thing is, like, when you're growing up as a female, you don't have a lot of female mentors to look up to.
Yeah.
And because right now we're in this age where we get to be that mentor for other kids and other girls,
Hmm.
we need to take that opportunity to be able to fill that space. Because like I said, if you're not given the opportunity, if you're not given the space, then you don't get to hone that purpose or hone that interest for that
Yeah.
sport.
Like that time,
Yeah.
like that instance when you're playing basketball as a kid and you
Hmm.
wanted to get that opportunity. Once you got that ball, as soon as I get the ball, I'm
Hmm.
gonna show
Exact.
come out guns
Exactly.
blazing. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, do you also feel like that you're gonna you now that you looked up to certain leaders, certain aspects of like
Hmm.
your friends and everything who are women in power, like do you personally feel, how do you feel that you can make an impact towards like other females down in future generations?
Well, for me, it's about, well, in my field, I get to work with young girls, and I know what it's like to be coached by older females who I look up to, because I was coached by females when I was in high school, and that made a
Mhm.
huge difference in how I look at sport and how I move within sport. Um, which I don't think I would have learned if it was a male. Like, there's just certain, I don't know, certain connection, I guess you could say, between female coach and female player, and all in terms of like development, right? When you're a young kid, obviously if you're in professional levels, gen- gender of your coach doesn't really matter, because that's all strategy, that's all skill work. Developmental is, what I'm saying is, like 9 years old to like 13 years old, when you're really like, you don't really know what's happening, right? um so I think now that I'm in a position, and I'm really lucky because I'm in a
Mhm.
position to teach as a trainer. I take every opportunity I get whenever I get to work with young girls to work on that developmental part, because I know that when they build that within themselves, they'll be able to go with more professional coaches when they get to like pro level in college, um, and in pro level, and be able to learn from those coaches in a different level too. So when I get to work with young girls, it's important to build those relationships already, those healthy, positive relationships from the jump, because I didn't
Yeah.
get to have that. So, I want to make sure these guys have it, right?
These future generations, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's really good that you're saying that though, because I feel like from based off of what I see from you with your work ethic, how much
Mm,
of like off of like you being as a trainer, and everything, you've already
Mhm.
felt like, you've made some impact, some strides. Like I
Mhm.
remember you mentioned that you were at one time also a coach as well too.
Mhm.
You coached your own girls as well too, to see how they
Yeah.
can develop as well too. But
Yeah.
in a sense, like you yourself, like are an example of like in future generations of what like woman empowerment, though, try to make
Thank
the
you.
the
That's
the
really
shift out
big.
there, though. So
Yeah, now
from
I
what I
feel
see,
like I have so much responsibility, but
yeah. So,
thanks.
but like for someone that hasn't really that hasn't really had anyone looked up to, but now is starting to create that narrative for future generations
Mhm.
um to come, though. So which is also like very like inspiring though from.
Thank you so much. It's tricky because the people that I looked up to, like obviously when I was younger, growing up, even now, is all males. Like they're all
Mm,
males. My mentors are all males, right? The
yeah,
people who have shaped me to be the trainer that I am today are all males. My
yeah.
coaches that, I learned skills and development from, they were all
Mhm.
males. The coworkers I had starting my career were all males, right? My coaches, my co-coaches are all males. So going into this industry of, sport and fitness, it's gonna be male driven. And I say it with like my whole chest, like that never scared me. It actually intrigued me to even be better at the field that I'm in, only because I know that we have a spot in it and that we have
Yes.
a place in it too. Um, but I truly would not be like the trainer that I am today. And I'm still learning, like, I'm still trying
Hmm.
to get better. I'm
Hmm.
still honing different skills and I'm learning them from males. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because, like I said, there isn't a lot of representation from the mentor side, which is, whoever is higher than me, that are
Hmm.
females. So
Hmm.
now that I'm still in this young age, in this fresh start into that industry, I want to be able to learn what these guys are doing so that when I get to a level of mentorship, I'm able to relay that to the next females that will come along.
Oh, okay, yeah. But
Mhm.
because the way it's because now that like if we have more people like you, like women down the road sooner or later, I feel
Mhm.
like this will be like this industry will be dominated by women as well too. Like if let's take like I
Mhm.
mean aside from like basketball, you take a look from the Olympics. Like the Olympics was like a sport where it's like male driven as well too.
Mhm.
But now
Yeah,
sooner
correct.
now like in the past Olympics, there have been more female athletes than
Mhm.
male athletes that are participating because like that's how like even now with like basketball as well too in the NBA, I'm
Mhm.
starting to see like sooner or later down the line there's going to be more women taking like big leadership roles like
Yeah. Becky,
executives and
being like
yeah,
a head coach eventually,
head
who
coach
knows? Maybe Pop
eventually.
will give her that spot. But
Yeah.
well, I think it's coming from support, not just in the female aspect of it, not just women supporting women and women empowering women, but also men empowering women because that's huge, especially in the NBA. You see it in small aspects like the NBA Instagram posting WNBA highlights or
Yeah.
Bleacher Report posting women's highlights or
Yeah.
LeBron James going down the tunnel to the game wearing a WNBA sweater
Yeah.
or Kobe Bryant starting coaching his daughter's women's leagues. Like those things matter, like because they're from a higher profile in the NBA world, which is obviously male dominated, but
Yeah.
they're contributing to women's sports, and that's huge. Like, because you don't see that often, when you go down um, um, highlights or like the score, and when you go down Bleacher Report, Complex Sport, and you read the comments, and it's a female, like if they post something about women's sport, someone's just gonna comment something sexist on there, right?
Yeah.
And that's normal. It's
Yeah.
totally normal. It's hard to change society in that way, but man, Kobe Bryant was supporting WNBA, and you look up to him. So I
That's
mean,
just,
something's
yeah.
got you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nick, do you feel how much do you feel, Nick, does it have does women play into basketball, and how much of an impact do you think
It's
it is?
it's it's huge. It's huge. I think a lot of, well, let's kind of highlight. I'm just gonna highlight Mar a bit here and kind of show show off why our team is so successful, like our coaching team. When I was first asked to coach, Kyle, one of our friends, approached me and said, let's coach rep. Let's coach U12 2006. At the time, they're in grade 6. So fundamental level basketball. We're coaching OBA.
Hmm.
And I told Kyle, I'm like, look, I'll do it if you do it. He said, okay, yeah, I'm down. And then in my head, I said, I think the best thing to do would bring would to bring Mar onto our team. Um, she was learning how to do personal training at the time. She was just getting her feet under herself in the industry.
Yeah.
She was learning the ropes of how to periodize a training plan and things like that, and
Hmm.
we all learned together in that first
Hmm.
year. But our team was successful not because of my plays or not because of Kyle's rotations, but those boys were relentless. They had maximum effort all the time, and it's because of the amount of effort that Mar gave them
Hmm.
um whenever we were training. So they're not scared of me. they're not scared of
Yeah.
they're not scared of
No,
Kyle.
I'm always the bad guy.
But
I'm like
but
bad cop
but
all the
Mars
time.
but Mar is the scary. It's kind of like, when you're a kid and you're more scared of your mom than your dad, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it's
Yep.
like. But women in basketball, like, I see it all the time, and we as a coaching team get disrespected all the time whenever, first of all, for our age, second of all, to see Mar yelling at the other end. Other
I
old men
yell a
gets
lot.
other old men
And
get
they get really
scared.
scared.
They get scared, like so the impact of women in basketball is huge, and it's a lot bigger than what a lot of people think it is. And I'm very thankful that we had Mar, that I had asked Mar to hop onto our coaching team, because I know even till this day we are 4 years in and we're still keeping the same boys.
Mhm.
We wouldn't be here without that type of culture, the culture that we had brought in, and the culture that Mar had
Mhm.
had instilled in the boys. Those boys know how to work, and that's because of Mar. And that's not a male, that's not a male coach to boys. That's a female coach
Female.
to the boys. And
Mhm.
the boys give Mar so much respect, and that's the biggest thing. It always comes down to respect, and the boys respect Mar to the utmost, fullest. And that's where the level of inspiration comes from, right?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. That I
That's
see that too,
nice.
though, because and that's the level of inspiration too. Like as I mentioned, and I have been repeatedly mentioned, is
Mhm.
gonna be that's really influential towards women
Mhm.
in the next
And that's
generations.
the thing. It's like if you know basketball and you know skills and you know development and you know how to relay that as
Mm.
a coach, as a trainer, then it doesn't really matter whether you're a female or a male because you're going to do a great job at it regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fair. And like one last thing, like um, let me see. What kind of so like tell me like one last question before we had to head on to the game.
Okay.
So what kind of like role like do you if you want women to also dominate like be a part of it then what kind of role do you think each woman or like women as well as men should play, so that way, you know, women can be seen as equal, or if not, like, you know, just as much too, like.
I think in terms of role, because there's like so many levels of things that you could be a part of, but I think being a part of like the back end of things, like in terms of basketball, let's just say like in the admin side of things, like in GM, for example, like a female GM, knowing how to pick players, you know, those that the back end stuff, I think that's really important because here's the thing, because it'll level out IQ intelligence in basketball from what I think, right? Because is there a female GM? I don't know.
No,
Is there? No,
not in
there isn't
basketball.
one. There
not yet.
isn't one, right? Like we know there's female referees. That's fine. Rules are gonna be rules. It's easy to learn rules. We know there's gonna be female basketball players. That's all already a thing, which is in the NBA. We know that female coaches are a thing because they're in the WNBA, they're in the NBA now, assistant coaches. We know that's a real thing. Physiotherapy team, we know that there's female physiotherapists, we know that there's female athletic therapists, massage therapists. So in that end of the basketball side, I think that's pretty covered. I think where I would want to see females excel more is in the admin side of basketball, which is like being a GM, right? I think once we get to that point, we have done it. We have really done it.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
I know we're about to wrap up, but I have a quick question.
Okay.
So when you first came to Canada and you played, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's a two-parter. So the first part is, can you give us a little timeline of where you played and who you played for from the time that you came to Canada till about now? All right. So that's the first
Okay.
part. The
Yeah.
second part is, what do you feel about the game? Like, what do you feel about the game that you have learned from as a player, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a player playing with other girls, and then as a
Mm-hmm.
coach coaching for girls. What
Mm-hmm.
did you feel like you learned? So the first part is your timeline. So your history with basketball.
Okay. Okay. So part one. Oh my God, it's just such a long question. I feel like I'm writing an
I just want to
essay.
know. I just want to know. I just want to know, just to give people some insight, right? I mean,
Okay.
some background, you know.
All right. Well, I moved here in sixth grade. I started playing basketball in sixth grade when I moved here because one of my friends, who is also Filipino, played for a Filipino league here, and it's called oh my gosh, Lakan, I think. Okay, Lakan. I played for them, but obviously with girls sport, you don't have a lot of players. Okay, so there's not many girls that played at the time. This was like 2006, so they would run NABA, um, turkey ball, all that stuff. You guys know that V Cup, and it would be the same four teams because all you need in a pool is four teams to run a tournament.
Right.
So we had there was four teams. It was Lacan, Angels, Vaughn, and
Falcons.
North York.
Oh,
North
North
York.
York. North
Yeah.
York. Okay.
So there's four. There's
All
only
right.
four. The same
Right.
girls played every single time.
Right.
But it changes every year because, as you get older, I guess, in every year. I moved to a different place in seventh grade. And so I played for North York because obviously I lived in North York. So played Lacan, then I played North York. And then everybody knows Tito Ariel. Shout out Tito Ariel. So he asked me to play for Angel. So every year is just kind of different. But that's only because consistency in female basketball outside of school is not that high. And that's partly because girls fall out of the sport at a faster rate than boys.
Okay.
So usually that peak happens in ninth grade. And there's actually a reason for that. in ninth grade, something happens in the summer, because in grade 10 you don't have to take gym,
Mm,
right?
right.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of girls are only forced to do gym in grade 9 because you have to take
Mm-hmm.
gym to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part in grade 10, people just lose interest in sport for that reason, which is
Right.
why I think phys ed should be done like all the years, but that's a different topic. I did phys ed all through my high school,
Yeah.
which is why I played all my years up
Yeah.
until grade 12. And then after that, oh, and then in school, obviously, I played in school for the varsity team. I played every position I've ever played. So I would play a one, two, three, and then in Filipino league, because I'm a little bit taller than most Filipino girls. And by a little, I mean like a lot taller than most Filipino girls. I would play the four and the five. So I was kind of all over the place. Never really got to like really get good at one
Mm-hmm.
position because I was just all over the place. So that's kind of my timeline. A bunch of Filipino leagues all throughout, and then all of high school I played for the varsity team, playing one, two, and three.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that's my
Yeah.
timeline. And then part two. What's part two again? I lost the
What is
question.
the difference between, like, what did you learn as a player, and then what
Okay.
changed your mind as a coach? Because
Ah.
I know for myself, and it obviously, like, I don't know if it's any different for
Mhm.
you, but
Mhm.
for myself, and I know for Just, it's the same thing. Is that
Mhm.
when you're a coach, I mean, when you're a player, you kind of just play, you just play the game. I mean,
Mhm.
you just play based on your skill, what you see on TV. You don't really think
Right.
sometimes, you just play. But when you
Mhm.
become a coach, you kind of like tap into that IQ and kind of have to
Yeah.
think out the game a little bit more.
Yeah. 100%.
And I feel like that's what I learned, and I just want to know what you learned.
Right. For me as a player, I learned placement.
Mm,
So that's kind of like the umbrella word, I would say.
mm-hmm,
Placement. So that's knowing your role, knowing how to execute it, knowing where to go, how to be, what kind of player you need to be for that certain time of the
right.
game. I learned that a lot from Coach Paul, who played internationally in Hawaii,
Mm-hmm,
and he came back because he actually graduated from Northview, came back for some like volunteer stuff. So he was my coach all of high school. So that's Coach Paul Campbell. And he taught me about placement,
mm-hmm,
and my entire time playing basketball as a player, I only worried about where I needed to be, what my role was, and what I was supposed to do,
mm,
which actually translates to what I learned as a coach,
mm,
because placement is also the thing that I learned as a coach. And but that's a different, it's like a different umbrella when you look
mm-hmm,
at it from a coach's perspective. Placement in a way that how you place yourself as a coach towards your players. So
mm-hmm,
that means like knowing when to set boundaries, knowing how to lead kids,
mm-hmm,
not just to learn life, like not just to learn basketball skills, but to
mm-hmm,
learn life skills.
mm-hmm,
Those are placements of where, obviously, like key roles in where to put your players,
mm-hmm,
placement. um yeah, just like learning that transition from
mm-hmm,
player to coach.
mm-hmm,
um but most of those things are interchangeable. It's just in a way where it's like I'm not just talking about myself now as a player. I have to talk amongst five, or
right,
amongst 12, I mean,
right,
sorry, but
right.
five when you're like setting the play.
Yeah,
So yeah, most of
true.
those things are transferable, but I think putting yourself out and taking your place out of the
Yeah,
playbook,
yeah.
and then learning which kids are going to execute at what, which kids are going to be excellent at what, knowing which kids are going to need a little bit more push than
Mm-hmm.
others. Yeah, that's what I learned as a coach. Just like
Yeah.
learning where to place those things.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I remember helping you coach that girls team for 1 year,
Mhm.
and I saw the big difference between coaching girls and boys. Like
Mhm.
with boys, they tend to want to do their own thing.
Mhm.
You really have to teach them placement. As for
Yeah.
girls, they want to know placement, but you kind of have to let them.
Free.
You have to make them
Yeah.
be more creative on the like
Mhm.
with the game. I find that they're
That's the
more
thing.
like,
I find that
you
also.
know,
I find that also because I think as females, we're so used to being put in a box
yeah,
that we understand the box really well.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that when we're given the opportunity to explore, it's like, oh, we shouldn't do that though,
yeah,
like
yeah,
in the back of our heads,
yeah,
even when we're allowing that we're
yeah, yeah.
allowing that space for girls to learn, yo, you can do this thing.
It's a
Oh, but
mindset that
yeah, absolutely,
I think it's a
absolutely.
mindset that it like, especially in female basketball, like the game, like to a viewer's eye, is not as attractive
Hmm.
because
Yeah,
it's very
it's
like
very technical, very
technical.
technical. Yeah.
It's not as fast paced and upbeat
Hmm.
as men's basketball. But as a male
Hmm.
watching female basketball, I learned the most plays from there. Like I
And
learned the most
this
from
is
that, right?
yeah, it's really crazy because I was coaching the girls at a tournament, and there was a triple A team that was playing at the next court,
Right.
and we were on a break, so I went out to watch the other teams play, and I've never seen such fluid basketball
Mm.
ever,
Mm-hmm.
even from like men's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just like good ball movement, good foundations,
Mm-hmm.
uh really strict players that just did their thing, and it was beautiful. It was like, whoa.
Yeah,
And
it's
these girls were 16.
yeah.
It was insane.
It's a different, it definitely is. I feel like it's a whole different game. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it
basketball is
is.
basketball, but it's a whole different style of play,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like I
And that's the thing, like we have to admit, males are going to be stronger than females. That's just the way biology works. But
Mm.
if you're going to play a sport, you have to use your body in a way that's going to benefit you. And if our style of play is strategic, you know, I would take that still over trying to do something that isn't really true to you as
Right,
a
right.
player.
Yeah. Like you have to think
Hmm.
outside of the, like, I feel like girls have to rely on that strategy a little bit more because of that difference,
Hmm.
right? But
Exactly. Well,
yeah,
yeah, because I can't just like run
run
super
over.
fast and dunk the ball. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Like
I can't do
a
that.
girl
Like
dunking
if
is
I
such
set a
a
pick, like you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
so bizarre, right?
like a
But
girl dunking is such a foreign thing. That's why it's such a
hmm.
big thing in the WNBA. But like
Hmm.
in the NBA, it's
Exactly.
like, oh yeah, this guy had 80, 90 dunks in the year.
Yeah,
Zion
it's like
Right.
who
Williamson's
cares?
Standard.
Yeah.
dunking like a layup. So
Exactly. So, we can't show off with a big dunk, but you know what I mean? Dribbling is the same skill, shooting is the same skill,
yeah,
passing is the
yeah,
same skill. So regardless, if you can work something around that, learning how to get open,
yeah,
right? Those are just all fundamental things. And if basketball looks fluid, it looks amazing.
yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
scared for this trivia
Yeah, I
Okay.
now.
wanna I
So
wanna know
let's.
this trivia too.
Okay. So
Can
the
it not be
game is
hard
just.
question?
No, it's just gonna be like simple questions, like
Okay,
some
good. I don't know
something.
stats. Don't ask me
No,
stats.
no, no, nothing about stats though. So,
Okay.
okay, let's start off. All right. So this is
Okay.
okay. I have some questions pulled up here. Okay. Let's. I'm gonna ask both of you guys a question, and
Am I going against Nick?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. He knows the
Okay.
questions. What
So
the heck?
I don't know the questions.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
I'm gonna ask. I'm. So I'm gonna I'm gonna ask the questions. So one of you,
Okay.
when I call your name, you're gonna go first. You're gonna answer the question, and then the next person will
Okay.
go. Okay.
Okay.
So for the first question, let's start off with something easy.
Okay.
So, what is the nickname of LeBron James?
The
Oh,
king.
Mar.
Oh, I
Yes.
said it. The
Yeah.
king.
Okay.
Because he
Yes.
does that.
Yes. And Nick,
I
what
know
would you?
that.
Okay.
King James.
King
King
James.
James.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Okay, next question.
Okay. Next question. Okay. Okay.
I'm nervous.
How many players can
Okay.
start for each team?
5.
My gosh.
I
5.
know
Five.
Come
that.
on,
That's
that's
Okay.
easy.
Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Is this
But hey,
basketball
some
101?
people might not know. So some people might not know.
Okay.
That's
I, I
fair.
I hope they know because this
I
is a
hope.
basketball podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. How many points did Will Chamberlain score to set the all-time record?
Oh my gosh.
100 something. Oh my god. It's 100 something.
I'll
Is it
let Mar
not?
go first. Mar, go
Mar, go ahead.
first.
Okay, I'm just gonna guess. 111.
Okay. Nick.
Oh my
All-time
god, I don't
record,
know. It's
all-time
100
NBA
something.
record. I'm just gonna say 100 flat.
Yeah, yes, it is 100.
Freaking!
Yes.
I knew it was
Okay.
100 flat.
Okay. Okay, here's another one.
Okay.
What is the nickname of Dwayne Wade?
Oh,
Okay.
oh, you have a
Mar.
lot. There's a lot, but Mar goes
Nickname
first.
of Dwayne Wade? Oh my god, did you guys see that picture that oh wait, sorry, we're still recording. That was so funny. Okay, Dwayne Wade. D Wade,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yes. D
Does he
Wade?
have other nicknames?
Oh,
Oh my
okay.
god.
Okay.
No,
I
right?
got
I don't
okay.
know.
Can I say? Is
Go
it my
ahead,
turn?
Nick. Yes, go ahead, Nick.
So early D Wade, we got the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Oh,
we
you
got D
mean like
Wade.
that nickname.
Then we
Okay.
got late D Wade is Father Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Father Prime,
Wow. Okay,
right?
he has a lot. I did
So
not know that.
he's got 3 in my head
He's
that I
got
remember.
Yeah.
he's got a bit. Okay.
Do I get extra
Yeah.
bonus points?
Yeah, we'll give you
No.
extra.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right. So now
Okay.
I'm gonna ask another one.
Okay.
I'm gonna list 4 players.
Okay.
One of them is gonna be the MVP and one of them is not. So
Oh
here are the
god.
4 players.
Okay. Who? All
Dwight
right, let's
Howard,
go.
Tracy McGrady, Derrick Rose, or Joakim Noah. Which one of the 4 has won an MVP award?
One. Derrick Rose.
Okay, Derrick Rose. Nick, what is your?
Jakeem Noah. Oh my
Derrick
god. Like
Rose.
who?
Oh!
I didn't
I
say
thought
Joakim Noah.
Oh,
oh my
okay.
god.
No, yes, it's Derrick Rose. I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
thought Mart was gonna change that answer.
No, I'm not gonna change my answer.
Okay.
Come on,
Yes.
Crazy.
Mar, you gotta say why you know it's Derrick Rose because I know you had his shoes.
Honestly, I was a big fan.
You were
Okay, I was a big fan of Derrick Rose, and then I even had his shoes. I had the Addy Zeros.
The twos.
Is that what they're called?
You had the twos.
Yeah,
I
two.
remember.
And the 3, or the first one and the second one. So I had both of his shoes.
1 and 2. Yeah.
He injured his ACL, and literally a month later, I injured mine. So I was like,
Oh.
Derrick
Yo, man,
Rose. Derrick Rose, my name.
2010.
That's a tough time.
Here's a quick backstory of why Filipinos love Derrick Rose. In 2010, every Filipino tournament, you have to wear
Crazy lights.
crazy lights or the D Rose twos, and
Those
you have
things were.
and you have to wear elite socks. So you're wearing or double Nike socks. That's the standard. Every Filipino team, guy and girl, wore the same thing. Doesn't matter how much it hurt your feet, you have to wear it. You have to wear it. So that's why
Yep.
Derrick Rose is very big in the Toronto basketball community. I know one of our next guests. He's a big Derrick Rose fan. So, yeah,
There you go. There you
here's
go.
one example.
That's one example. Okay.
He's still a good player. I
He's
mean,
still a
if he
good
didn't
player.
Yeah,
if
he's
he
still
didn't injure his knees, like he would be a killer
like
for
playing at
sure.
the level that he is now. Like in
Oh
Next
yeah,
question.
absolutely.
okay. Next
Okay.
question.
I'm getting thirsty.
Okay.
Okay.
Which of these players? I'm gonna list 4 players,
Okay.
and one of the 4 played for the Golden State Warriors.
Oh,
Okay.
this is easy.
Okay.
Okay.
DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, Julius Randle, Miles Turner.
Oh, I actually don't know this.
Oh
my God.
Oh my God. I'm surprised.
Judge me.
I'm surprised.
Oh my God.
I it's easy for me. It is easy for me. But Mar, go first.
Go ahead.
Oh God, what's that guy's? I'm terrible with these things.
You know this.
I just know how to
you
play
this.
basketball. Okay, I don't know these things. Oh. Okay. Question to the trivia is did this person play against the Raptors during the finals?
No.
Oh,
Actually,
so
I
don't
lied.
know.
Yes.
Oh my! So I know
Yes,
this
you
guy.
did.
Okay, so I think it's.
That gave it away.
Wait, so he did play against the Raptors
I
during
don't
the finals.
I don't know if that's much of a help.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that's which. It's one of the.
What do you
4
mean?
yeah.
So that means
It is yes, but I don't know if
It-
it's gonna help you.
yeah, because I think I remember was he benched?
No, just
Turner. I'm gonna go with Turner. No, Cousins.
Okay.
It's one of those two.
Okay, say it.
So
Final answer.
pick one.
Okay,
Final.
fine. Turner. I'm going with Turner.
Turner.
Fuck,
Okay.
I think it's Cousins.
It's definitely
DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus
I'm gonna
Cousins.
change Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins was number 0, and in game, I'm gonna say game
Cousins.
5.
I'm gonna go Cousins.
Game 5, he went off right against the Raptors. He went off
Did
because
he? Oh,
yeah,
God. So it's
Yeah,
Cousins.
yeah,
Yeah,
Cousins.
it's
Okay, I'm
Cousins.
right. I changed my answer.
No,
What?
Oh,
I can change my answer. I knew it was either one of those.
what are the other though? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last one?
Okay, we're gonna do one last one.
Okay. Give me a
Okay.
good
those
one.
are easy.
Okay,
Those
I'm
are
gonna
hard
give
for
you
me.
like.
I don't pay attention to players' names.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
Here's
go.
Last one. Okay. Which team
Okay.
did Paul Pierce retire from?
Oh, Boston. Oh no, I lied. Wait.
Let me read the. I'm gonna reiterate the question again.
She said it.
Paul Pierce?
Which team did Paul Pierce retire with?
Retired with. Oh my God. I think it's Boston. I don't know.
I feel like Justin's trying to stump me too. Because
Okay, what are the teams he played for? Give me the teams he played for.
Okay.
Okay.
He's gonna
Brooklyn
give it in
Nets.
chronological order. Oh,
Brooklyn Nets?
Good.
Brooklyn Nets, Boston Celtics,
Okay.
Washington Wizards, and
Okay.
LA Clippers. So which one of the 4 teams? Those are
I'm
the
gonna
teams
go
that
with
he
my
played?
gut. Boston Celtics. Final
Okay.
answer.
Final answer. Okay, and Nick for
Okay. Now I'm
I
starting
think
to
it's Brooklyn. Oh my God.
I'm starting to think twice about this because the last team he played for were the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He wouldn't retire for a 1-year sign.
I don't know if he he played for the Celtics. This is in chronological order. He played for the Celtics, Brooklyn, Washington, and then LA.
I feel like his legacy was at Boston though. Like, come
Yes.
His legacy's in Boston.
Yes,
But I think
you're right.
I think he retired with the Clippers.
What? What a dumb
Yes.
guy.
He did
Yeah.
retire with the
Ah,
Clippers.
okay.
So,
You
yes.
won, Nick.
But we did with the Boston, though.
I don't like this. I don't like this
I thought
trivia.
I was scared that he signed like a 1 day and
Hmm.
then just retired as a Celtic. And I think
As a
I feel like
Celtic?
that's what happened.
Mhm.
Ah.
You have to look that up.
Wait,
Yeah.
but didn't Dwayne Wade retire with the Heat?
Yeah,
Yes.
because he Cleveland. So Cleveland, he played with Chicago and then he signed with Cleveland,
Yeah.
right? So he signed
Yeah,
with
but he
Cleveland
didn't
because of
retire with
LeBron.
Cleveland.
No, because he got traded to Miami.
Ah, and
Yeah.
then he
And then he played
Then
Ah.
half a season and then the extra season with Miami,
and the extra season.
the farewell tour. But this
Wow.
is a big thing. The reason why I know Paul Pierce is because Draymond was talking dumb, like just talking,
Yeah, a lot.
right? And then Paul Pierce was talking dumb stuff. So, well, Paul Pierce was on the bench, and Paul Pierce, the year that Paul Pierce retired was the year that Kobe Bryant. I think it was the year after Kobe Bryant retired, right?
Oh.
So Paul
Yeah.
Pierce was talking,
Oh
and
God.
Draymond goes, "You ain't getting no farewell tour. You ain't Kobe Bryant. You ain't getting no farewell tour." And
Yeah.
Paul Pierce
Oh
is
my
shut up.
God.
And this is Golden State versus the Clippers. And
Hmm.
Paul Pierce is
That's
on the
how you
bench.
know, yeah.
But that's how I know.
Yeah.
That's how I know only
Yeah.
because
For
From
that.
there's certain like moments. Other than that, I would have definitely said Boston or something.
Boston.
The
I
Boston,
don't know.
yeah.
I
Boston
didn't
would
watch
have.
him. I didn't watch him when he moved to all those other teams. I only watched him when he played for the Boston.
For Boston. Ah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right. This was
Okay.
fun.
All right.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
this talk very much.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Hope to see you guys next week. I'm your host, Justin. Thank you so much, Mar, for guesting.
You're
and
welcome.
thank
I had a
you,
good
my
time.
co-host, Nick. All right. See you guys next week.
See
Let's run the point,
ya.
guys. Bye.